Hi, this is BK Black Krishna from manfulwars.com, where I'm promoting polite patriotism to help nice ladies and gents teach kids, look, talk, and feel great, and locally discuss and share online info offline as nice, helpful people improving where they live. A lot of times these days with gender neutral, gender equal, people aren't acting nice enough to talk. They're not able to respect each other as men and women. And yet if most people straight were great at it and others LGBTQ could also be nice people, then we'd all get along much better and communicate well offline as well as online, instead of kind of being uncomfortable near each other offline and then running to watch hours of YouTube videos or listen to hours of podcasts, and yet not being able to use that information effectively where we live to improve where we live and to help each other out. So manforwars.com for more on that. Please do support the Man for Wars efforts. You can subscribe, you can share, you can comment, you can get in touch with questions or answers. I also need financial support to do a lot more about this than less. Otherwise, I typically just keep my self-respect to not lose mine or take anyone else's and help other people have it. And so there's PayPal and direct deposit donation links below, and always happy to discuss options as well, because then the offline information war, not just online, but the offline information war can be won in places like Toronto, Canada, where I live, and around the world, and that would be ideal. But on that note, some of the online chicanery is something I'm commenting on in this video, which is called YouTube hides my climate change comment on Rebel Media video. And basically, I'll show you the difference in how they are hiding this comment. So I go to my YouTube app on my phone, and there's a video from Rebel Media with David the Menzoid Menzies reporting. And it says here, Toronto councillor abuses taxpayers with, quote, no hope lawsuit against big oil. David Menzies. Basically, a local Toronto councillor wants to sue big oil companies for climate change. A couple of big liberal cities in America have tried it and they failed because it's a frivolous lawsuit for a number of reasons. And I'll show you this video here. And so this is me logged in with my Man for Wars Media YouTube account, which YouTube knows. So then I scroll down to the comments, and it says here 100 comments, 163 comments, and mine is the first comment, Man for Wars Media, just a day ago. And this is a new YouTube channel. The previous ones with not too many, but a few hundred, 600, 700 subscribers, they've been deleted. And they generally delete a lot of my content, especially over the kids shouldn't be trans issue, but among other reasons, or they hide it, or they obfuscate it, or whatever. But this is something that I found interesting and I thought was worth sharing. So let me show you why they hid my climate change comment. To give you some context, I've been on this since 2007. I had a radio show back then. I interviewed a veteran, award-winning climate scientist, one of the top in the world, spoke at every climate conference for 30, 40 years, huge bio, blah, blah, professor, etc. And then he came out against the climate change crap, and then, of course, they called him a big oil shill and doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a real scientist. So all of his previous experience was gone, and that's Professor Timothy Ball. I interviewed him once for about 45 minutes, and then another time for a couple of hours. We broke down the whole thing. So I can speak on this from an authoritative perspective, and having spoken on this a few times, I can make it really, really concise, and if people see this, it can just sort of quickly blow their minds, and that might be why they hid it. And I'll show you the proof they hid it after I read this comment I put on this video. So as you can see, it starts off, CO2 is not, quote, pollution. It's what mammals exhale. Like that. Plants love it and inhale it and exhale oxygen for us. It's called the carbon cycle. It's also only 4% of, quote, air, and doesn't affect the climate much. So this 4% of this that's carbon dioxide hardly barely affects the climate. the Earth's proximity to the sun does, how close the Earth is to the sun. That's when it's hotter or cooler typically. And they've proven this scientifically. You can look into all this stuff yourself if you'd like. Climate change is a giant scam to scare us about what might happen in the future, tax control, and make us all use less, ... except for corrupt super rich people. Lying globalist commie greenies have been wrong every time for 50 years since 1969. See this, quote, the world will end in 10 years if we don't, ... and 3 exclamation marks, quote, unquote, list for example. And I list to a whatdoesitmean.com article, which cites these things and has links to the originals, which shows since 1969, there have been evil globalist commie greenies who've been saying, the world will end in 10 years if we don't do this. The world will end in 10 years if we don't do this. The world will end in 10 years if we don't do this. They've been saying this since 1969. In the late 70s, they had a global cooling scare on the cover of Newsweek. The world will end in 10 years if we don't make radical changes. We're all going to freeze to death. And then Al Gore in 2007 comes out with an inconvenient truth and says that in less than 10, 12 years, Florida will be underwater unless we make radical changes. Total BS, right? I mean, and they switched from global warming to climate change so they can blame anything they want on us. And I can go on and on and on about that. But that's the comment here. And I'll put a link to this below. So then I thought, okay, well, this is weird. But then I double checked this because I've seen this before, but I double checked this. So then I went using my my Firefox browser on my phone to the Rebel Media YouTube channel to try and find this comment and see if it's there. And it wasn't a reply to somebody, just a comment there. And so here it is when I'm not logged in as Man for Wars Media, when I'm just going there as someone who's not logged into YouTube, looking at the exact same video. There it is. There's the do you want to subscribe button as opposed to you're already subscribed. And then I scroll down past the other videos that are recommended, and it says comments 163. And yet, when I scroll through the comments, and I've already done this, mine is not there. It's not there. So I can see it when I'm logged into my own site, but if I go here, and that's the end of the comments there, and you don't see my little Brad Pitt and Edward Norton with the soap from Fight Club Man for Wars Media logo there, you don't see that there, right? And so that gives you an example of how they are censoring it. You didn't see that as I was scrolling through all this mess, and it's not there. And so that gives you an idea of how YouTube censors you, but you might not even know you're being censored unless you check that way. And knowing my comment relative to the other comments out there, I thought, well, let me just check and take a look, and you can see what happens. So anyway, I wanted to share that and pass that on, and I hope it helps inform and empower you with respect to censorship. And that's also why I want you to support in many ways the offline information war as well. So check out manforwars.com, check out the website, check out the PayPal and direct deposit donation links as well. Get in touch with any questions or answers, or to work together, or with anything else that's on your mind, or if there's something you want me to discuss. Otherwise, BK Black Krishna for manforwars.com. I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.